It's Wednesday evening again here at the Tribune, and this is John Mackett here with Eamon McFadden, Declan Kerr, and we have a special guest this week in Laura Sweeney. Laura, you're a student, you're welcome to the show.
Yeah,
your work experience here for the week, are you?
Yeah, started on Monday until Wednesday.
Very good. And is this your first close contact with the media up front?
Yes, I've never done anything like this before, and it was good to see how it was the paper was printed and so much work that goes into it and that sort of thing.
Down at the college, Mulroy College, would there be much interest in newspapers or reading newspapers, or is it just basically all about social media?
It's sort of much about social media and things like TikTok and Instagram is where people kind of get their news and stuff like that, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there's a big change. I mean, what would be the big issue among students other than their studies?
Probably
say sport and things like that there.
Yeah, sport would be a big one. Since the sport stopped with the school.
Yeah.
When Corona came in, but it's kind of started up now again, and people love to get out and play again and go on trips and. Yeah.
I suppose you're the first generation in 100 years to have experienced this whole lockdown and wearing masks in schools and doors and windows. Must have been quite traumatic.
That was probably the worst bit about this year. You couldn't go anywhere, and you just kind of depended on social media, as you say, to keep in contact with people, and yeah.
It's very good. Was the restrictions now probably ending? Are things improving a lot at school?
Yeah, we can go on trips and we can go out and play matches and that sort of thing.
Kind of getting back to some kind of normality. That'll probably be the end of the summer.
Before things fully return.
So you'll be then into what? You'll be into your leaving, will you?
Yeah, leaving starting the year starts in September for that.
So you're from Glenvar?
Yeah.
I knew your granddad Tommy Tom so well. Big times there with John McCready.
Yeah.
Father Martin Doohan. Yeah. Crosses going up on the mountainside. Unbelievable. There was some buzz about the place then.
Yeah, he just loved that. That was the big thing.
Well, he was very much a community activist. He used to travel with meetings to me in Fintown, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Back in the day. And he's fondly remembered, but you're very welcome to the programme.
Thank you.
Look, boys, we're going to be talking about different things later on, but it looks as if the crisis in the Ukraine might be ending, does it?
Seems to be. Well, the military manoeuvres are backed off apparently at the minute.
Yeah,
what it would seem.
Although there's still some, I suppose, skepticism over that. But
I think Simon Coley sorted that out. You can imagine the Russians. Last Thursday, you probably didn't see this, Laura. The Earth Committee on Foreign Affairs, they had the Russian ambassador and it was a caught in the headlights almost. And you could imagine that the millions of people watching this across Russia that are putting it out on drones and loudspeakers, and probably Red Square was full to the brim, and Putin just thought in the middle of this, we can't take any more of this, we better pull back, boys, because they're going to come at us again. Do you think that would have happened?
So it was basically the Irish.
Definitely. It was
the Irish answer to the
Simon Coveney and the trouble that they had about their military manoeuvres off the southeast coast.
Brendan Byrne them kind of.
Oh, definitely. Well, Brendan, Father Jones, you would have been advising him, so there would have been.
How close do you think it actually was to an incursion or?
I don't think it was ever on.
Yeah. Do you think it was just
Russia is flexing its muscles? Putin has to re-establish himself as a world power, and he has this energy pipeline, this gas pipeline that has cost billions upon billions, and it's the worst thing that we ever done in the EU to have anything much to do with that, because now the EU is only 61% reliant on its own energy production. A lot of that is now coming in. There are two pipelines. That vast new pipeline there is just 726 kilometres or whatever it is. And Germany has been to the forefront in promoting that, and they've probably got it wrong. They're going to have to get energy from somewhere else, and probably that's going to be from nuclear power. Do you have any interest in those kind of things at all?
Oh, I never really look into war and stuff like that.
We're talking about inflation as well later on, and Mike, read this. Would that be a topic at the school?
Yeah, because a lot of people, their houses are affected by mica, and they obviously want to see something done about that. And we do in Irish, we do essays about it, and it would be kind of one of the main points of the Donegal, we used to write essays in Irish about problems in Donegal, and that would be
Well,
one of the main ones.
you have numbers of families and numbers of staff at the school affected by Micah, wouldn't you?
What's the impact on young people, do you think, on that, on your friends and that would be living in those scenarios?
I think they're like probably worried about it, and like they're like looking for something to happen with it that's like not just sort of all talk.
Yeah, well, like that's it's a very important point there. It is all talk, because we have a subheading today in the paper on the front page: 100% redress is not in sight, and this is the latest proposal that's going to be coming out, probably at the end of February. The what we're seeing here, the controversial sliding scale is being removed, but it's going to be replaced by a series of 8 other programs. But there's going to be caps on costs and on costs everywhere, all over the place. People involved in the Micah organisation who are now highly experienced, they don't see this as a solution. They just simply don't, because there's so many caveats there. Like, in other words, there's going to be a huge effort to get people to avoid taking the foundations out, even though they might be rotten, and many of them are.
Yeah, it's not fully addressing the issue.
Michael Doherty, the PRO of Micah, and one of the most respected people that I know in the whole organisation, and there are many of them. We had a long chat yesterday about what's going on here, and they can see these wee nuances about why, it's going to cost 7,000 to replace the foundation. But that's not the problem. If the government gets away with what Michael believes they're planning, and that's to use the 2007 regulations, they will have to leave the foundations in, because it'll be classified as a construction job and not a new build. So if they take the foundation out, it will become a new build, and it will be subject to the building regulations of 2021, and many of those materials that would have been used in 2007 would no longer be seen to be fit for purpose. And this is the kind of a controversial issues that are floating around behind the scenes there now. The Micah Action Group and other experts and officialdom are meeting on this Thursday evening. Michael Doherty does not, and that's why the headline is there: 100% redress is not in sight. There are all kinds of issues. They have 3 main pillars. The first one is 100% redress. The second one is to do with the aspects of the 40-year guarantee. Like, will somebody want to buy a house that's been affected by Micah? If Micah recurs, will the government come back in and provide more grant aid? They've made very little progress on that, albeit there is a little progress, but it's nowhere near sight of an end to that particular pillar. The third pillar would be to do with second homes and holiday homes. There's no progress there. So you can see, after all these years, and we're talking a decade and longer back into the 2000s, early 2000s, and some people would say before that, even to this day, there's very little progress. But we're going to go to one of our first stories. I've just lost track of the time here. It got simply paused. Do we know what time we're at here?
Yeah, we're 8 minutes into it now, so.
8 minutes. We're going to sort of go on to you, Eamon, and there's a significant event at the Meath Resources Centre there.
Aye, that was it. Last Friday, the group celebrated 25 years in operation, which is a big achievement and a big milestone for them. We have an extensive piece in there today too, and there's nice photo coverage from the event. It's nice that they're actually able to have any kind of social distanced event, because the place was always a hive of activity at the best of times, people in and out. It was a centre for everybody to call in and get support and resources and all this. So they had that on their way last week from sort of morning till early afternoon, and that gave everybody a chance to kind of pull together and catch up and have a chat. And there was plenty of people there who were involved in committees and boards, directors and all this of the Meath Family Resource Centre over the 25-year history. And
yeah, when I look back at that there and see the name of Seamus Mallon, who was living down there in his holiday home at the time, a very prominent advocate of the resource centres, and I think he might have been Chaff Band that he was in. That it was originally known as Chaff Band. That was the premises that they had rented.
The first place they went. Yeah. It was set up as part of a cross-border initiative. That's how it first came to be. Yeah. And from very humble beginnings with a couple of workers, now it's grown into being what it is today. And Naras Roskill there, they've housed that place as a.
But it's a fine setting. It's big premises right in the heart of the community in the village of Downings. But I suppose it's what's going on inside. It's a hive of activity and events.
Lots of groups working out
Again,
of it.
affected by COVID and the lockdown,
Yeah,
which hampered them and hindered them an awful lot.
yeah.
But that's a big celebration.
There's plenty of covers in that. So yeah, there's between photos and everything. There's a lot to go on.
We're going to take a look at a feature that we're doing now over the next couple of weeks. And I've got the wrong page once again, completely airy this afternoon. From armed struggle to academia, and it's by Paddy McMenamin, who's well known to readers of our paper. Paddy has written for us for a number of years, and he last wrote on the 50th anniversary of Bloody Sunday in Derry in 1972. And he happened to be a guest of Her Majesty's government on a prison ship called the Maidstone in Belfast Harbour, and listened to it on a transistor radio. But Paddy now lives in Galway. Originally from parents from Plumbridge, his father was from Plumbridge, and the mother was one of the Russells, the Russell family, who would have run the Mountain Bar out in Tirconaill, a legendary place, now closed. But From Armed Struggle to Academia is a memoir. He was part of that because he was involved in the struggle. He was interned. He served terms, as I said, on the Maidstone, later in McGilligan. And they foolishly thought at one point that the prisoners were being blindfolded and hoisted up on a helicopter, and they began to wonder at first, was this a new stunt by Ryanair for publicity? They soon discovered that that was part of the torture chamber that they were confronted with all the time, and then he ended up on the hitch blocks. And it's a very, very detailed story, given that so much happened during those years of the Troubles, and given that Paddy lived through that and served those periods of internment, and came back to live in Donegal, and in later years went back to academia, and this is the important bit where it comes in. He graduated as a teacher, an English teacher, and he had a successful career, and he now lives in Oranmore in Galway. So that's going to be a book. It's going to be launched probably in numbers of locations in Ireland, Galway, Belfast, and here in Tirconaill next month. It's probably going to be launched also in Scotland and possibly later on in America. So it's going to get good reviews. It'll be interesting just to see what the media reaction in Dublin is to an account like that, because here is a man that you hear these stories that people had a ringside seat at great events in history, but here's a man who was right in the centre of the Troubles.
Yeah.
As he said, they never, like Martin McGuinness, who famously said, we never went looking for trouble, it came looking for us. And these were just young people enjoying life as teenagers on the streets of Belfast, playing football, chasing women. He has all these great turns of phrase, the era of George Best, and all the boys kicking football against the walls and on the sink estates of East Belfast. All the boys wanted to be like George Best, but the girls, the only thing they ever wanted was George Best himself, and some of them got very, very lucky. So that is that book. I don't have a price for it here, but we'll have more details on that in the next 2 weeks. I think we expect it to be launched in Tirconaill kind of in early March. Declan, we're doing a piece here with, this is all to do with the climb to Errigal.
Yeah, it was launched on last night down in Gweedore in the Courts Hotel. It's Climb with Charlie. It's the Donegal version, and the idea was came from Councillor Kieran Brogan. So, and it's on back of Charlie Bird's interview back in January. He was on with Ryan Tuberty, and of course he's doing his own climb, and he was there by video last night with the group at the launch, and it's a major fundraiser for the motor neuron disease. Charlie was diagnosed with that 4 months ago. So
God knows Charlie was at the Stardust Memorial service, and he was very, 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 very strange. Did you see that, Laura? Charlie Bird and
Charlie B's interview on the show,
Nah, it was on twice actually, but he's probably at a very advanced stage of motor neuron. He's obviously attracting a huge amount of publicity and a huge amount of attention, and it will give a lot of insight into. He wants people to see it firsthand, the impact of motor neuron disease.
Just gives great exposure.
We all know somebody who has it, and unfortunately, it's all too common nowadays. And sadly, there is no cure, and there won't be a cure for it. But anyway,
Well, so it's
what
a
are
major,
you on?
it's a major fundraiser, and different groups around the country are replicating what charity has done in Kieran Brogan's.
It'll raise a huge amount of money, but we will keep in touch with Kieran Brogan on that and see what else. That is on when?
That's on the April
2nd, is it?
April the 2nd. Yeah, Saturday, April the 2nd. Yeah.
It's a climb to the top of Errigal.
Yeah.
You go out and raise as much money as you can and contribute as much as you can.
Be a huge crowd going up, I would say.
I would imagine so. Like, and I would
good
say
weather.
that launch
Oh,
last night will
probably.
have given it a fair impetus as well over the next
There's
week
a
or
big
so.
team behind and
Yeah.
setting it up, wasn't there?
Yeah, yeah.
Would you get any sense of those kind of things in school, in college? You know, those big fundraisers. I'm sure the college has been participants.
Yeah, they make announcements about this
Yeah,
sort of thing
yeah.
going on, and like if you want to participate, you can go out and do it. Yeah.
Does the school do fundraising itself?
We do fundraising as part of like transition year. We did for Make a Wish Day, Christmas Jumper Day, and then we told everybody bring in €2, and the proceeds went to Make a Wish Foundation. So we do different
very
things
good.
like that through the year and TY and that sort of thing.
Laura, you're going to do a wee story for us about a GA.
Yeah, Chloe
event.
Callahan was honoured in Crow Park for participating in Tirconaill JA Club, and she volunteered and she got Ladies Gaelic Football Association Young Volunteer of the Year. And she missed the day of her mock leaving cert exam to go and receive the award. And she was interviewed by Dahi O'Shea. She volunteered with the under-7s and the under-12s and plays in the minor girls and the junior girls.
Lovely.
Yes. Yeah.
Termon's a hotbed for women's football. I mean, they were one of the leaders going back down many years, Declan. You would know more
Yeah,
than
I
me.
mean the Termon ladies senior team won the only club from the county to win a national women's senior title back in 2014. Chloe Callahan, a great girl there. She's also the club photographer. And she done a yearbook last year
That's
as
right,
well.
yeah.
So
Very active.
So very well deserved. Very well deserved.
We're going to look at a different sport. The soccer season is starting, Declan. What's happening at Harps?
Yeah, well, it's a whole new team, by the way, apart from the manager. Holly Horgan lost almost a full team, but he has replaced them, and by all accounts, while it might take them a few weeks to gel together, he's gone out, he's signed players from France and Spain and Madagascar, to name but a few countries, and the Netherlands. So it's all his 9th season in charge at Finn Park. He's the first manager to manage the club 9 consecutive years.
He
He eclipses Patsy McGowan. Now it's going to be another tough year. It's going to be another tough year. Harps are always going to be in and around that bottom 3 or 4. You know, they have avoided the automatic relegation or the playoffs the last 2 years. I suppose the challenge is
it's always
to move
going to
on
be
from
a
that.
battle for survival.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can only just wish them well and just fair weather with results, you know.
Absolutely,
especially a result at home or so.
Yeah, so they're home to Drogheda United on Friday night, and they've had a good record.
That's their opening kick.
That's
of the season.
the last couple of seasons they've won their first game, so they'll be hoping to do that again. And they'll be actually up against one of his former players, Keith Cowan, recently signed for Drogheda. So, and Adam Foley, who scored a number of goals from last year, will be playing for Drogheda on Friday night.
It's unfortunate that you just lose so many prominent players in just one season.
It's the 1 year contracts.
It's just the pressure. It's the pressure.
Small club, small budget.
Getting players to come up into Donegal is always going to be a difficult.
Massive.
Looking at the front page, we have a lovely picture here of 2 of Milford's firemen. Eugene McCaffrey is the station officer, and Manus O'Donnell, he's a driver. They're cutting a cake to mark 30 years of service to the Donegal Fire Service. That was on Monday night there down at the fire station. It's a lovely picture there.
Great servants.
Great servants, and the fire brigade itself has been a huge thing here for Milford, you know, given that it's not all that many years ago since we didn't have a service at all. But our lead story, typically I suppose at this point, is this in Vince DePaul. I've talked at length to the SVP and Rosa Glacken, and there are so many difficulties out there at the moment, and as we're seeing here, as the real cost of inflation begins to affect family life. Rosa Glacken of the SVP Regional President Northwest, she has said the services are now being sought by record numbers in the county who have to face very stark choices, and there is no relief on the horizon. And we could talk around the clock about the the payments that were made last week, that everybody in the country, from the lowest paid, from the lowest denominators on income social welfare, people struggling, to the top paid, even, I mean, Robert Watt, the senior civil servant, is on 380,000 or more. I think it's up above that again. The Taoiseach, everybody else is entitled to the same bloody payments. How they could not have targeted that, or how they could have got that so wrong. Do you have any kind of views about that kind of thing?
Not
Everybody
really.
got a fiver.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter how wealthy, I mean, Michael O'Leary and everybody else, the wealthiest people in the country, the millionaires, are going to get the fiver
Yeah, that's
to
not-
combat inflation. I mean, is that not a pointless exercise?
Yeah, because like I think it should be given more to people who genuinely need it, rather than
Precisely.
people like making the richer richer. Is kind of what's happening.
But we have a professional ability in this country to do that, to make the rich richer, because in circumstances like we've been facing this last couple of years, the rich have got much richer and the rest of us have all been hampered. But why it could not have been targeted, particularly for the first phase, at all social welfare recipients. They would be able to give away a lot more than a fiver had they done that. They could have given them a tenner to get them over that crisis. It's not going to get them over a crisis, but a tenner a week is not going to go too far. They would have to look longer and harder at that. And after that, when they got that settled down, because inflation is here to stay for this year and maybe next year, and it's only going to get worse. I was just told by a fuel supplier today that the next hit they expect is that the litre of petrol will be €2. People can't afford that. They don't have incomes to match that, and they have no way of getting it except from the government. And there's no point in saying that the government can't afford it. I mean, the big banks, their stamp duty was substantially reduced last year, saving them millions and millions. They're throwing money around them like snuff at a wake, yet they seem to base this payment on the PUP when everybody got it, when everybody that was working got it. This is a completely different situation. I mean, people earning $1,000 a week probably don't need another tenner. They could look at that there, because the revenue commissioners, the big story here is that it would take too long. Why would it take too long to press a few buttons on a central computer system and pay the social welfare recipients? They could look then at the bands of earning up 500-600. If you have a take-home salary of 600 or 700, you probably can manage in the meantime. But this is what they've left us with, which is called...
There should be a formula. There should be a formula there, for emergency situations, for lower, not something that you should have to react to either. It should be.
But like, there is a formula there.
Yeah.
It's called common sense, and this government seems to be very short supply of it. So, but with that, Crib, we'll leave you for this week. Thanks, Laura, for being with us and for joining in.
Thank you.
And that's us until next week.